The Supreme Court's latest decision has upended President Trump's aggressive trade policies, marking a significant shift in the way the U.S. handles international commerce. The court has struck down sweeping tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, a law that has been a cornerstone of the administration's trade strategy. This landmark ruling is a major check on presidential power, reshaping the economic landscape for American businesses and consumers. It signals a return to a more balanced approach where Congress plays a crucial role in trade decisions. The case challenged the administration's use of emergency powers to enact tariffs without direct congressional approval, specifically targeting efforts to curb the international fentanyl trade. This has been a contentious issue, with many arguing that such powers were being overextended. The justices ruled decisively. The president cannot stretch the definition of a national emergency to control international trade, a power reserved for Congress. This decision reaffirms the checks and balances that are fundamental to the U.S. political system. The immediate impact? Hundreds of billions in tariffs are invalidated, offering relief to importers and potentially lowering prices for American families. This could lead to a more stable and predictable trade environment, but the story isn't over. The administration is already seeking new legal avenues to continue its protectionist agenda, ensuring the debate over trade and executive power is far from settled. This ongoing battle will likely shape the future of American trade policy for years to come. President Trump's tariffs were a signature of his economic platform, representing a dramatic shift from decades of U.S. trade policy that had largely favored free trade and globalization. Trump's approach was rooted in the belief that previous trade deals had disadvantaged American workers and industries, leading to job losses and factory closures across the country. The tariffs were aimed at protecting American industries from what he called unfair foreign competition, especially from countries like China, which he accused of manipulating currency and stealing intellectual property. Trump's administration argued that these measures would help revive American manufacturing and restore lost jobs. Starting with steel and aluminum, the tariffs soon expanded to cover a vast range of goods, from electronics to agricultural products. This sweeping approach was intended to pressure trading partners into negotiating better deals for the United States, but it also led to rising tensions with key allies and trading partners. The administration's unpredictable tariff strategy created significant uncertainty for businesses, making it difficult for companies to plan for the future or invest in new projects. Many firms faced higher costs for imported materials, which sometimes led to layoffs or delayed expansions. In 2025, the administration invoked IEPA to impose global tariffs, some as high as 145%, justified as a response to the fentanyl crisis. This unprecedented move marked one of the most aggressive uses of executive power in trade policy, sparking debate over the limits of presidential authority. Trump argued these tariffs defended American sovereignty and jobs, making foreign goods more expensive to boost domestic production. Supporters saw this as a bold stand for American workers, while critics warned of unintended consequences. The tariffs generated nearly $90 billion for the U.S. Treasury, but triggered retaliatory measures from other countries, hurting American exporters and farmers. Many agricultural producers found themselves caught in the crossfire, facing steep declines in overseas sales and mounting financial pressure. Economists warned these tariffs were ultimately a tax on American consumers, raising prices on everyday goods from groceries to electronics. The higher costs rippled through the economy, affecting families and businesses alike. Despite criticism and the escalation of trade wars, the administration insisted the short-term pain was necessary for long-term economic security. Protests and political debates erupted nationwide, reflecting deep divisions over the policy's effectiveness. This aggressive approach set the stage for the legal battle that reached the Supreme Court, where the future of presidential power over trade and the legacy of Trump's tariffs would ultimately be decided. At the heart of the Supreme Court's decision was the president's use of IEPA, a law meant for targeted sanctions during true emergencies, not for broad trade policy. The Trump administration declared the fentanyl crisis a national emergency to justify sweeping tariffs. But the court saw this as executive overreach. The justices agreed. Regulating commerce and imposing tariffs is Congress's job, not the president's. They warned that allowing such broad use of emergency powers could let any president bypass Congress on major economic decisions. The majority concluded IEP was never intended as a tool for global tariffs, and that only Congress can authorize such sweeping trade actions. The ruling sends a clear message: presidential power in emergencies has limits, especially when it comes to trade. The Supreme Court's 7-2 majority was a rare alliance of liberal and conservative justices, united by a core principle: the separation of powers. Liberals saw unchecked executive power as a threat to democracy, conservatives as a violation of the Constitution's text and original meaning. Both sides agreed the president had overstepped, bypassing Congress's authority over trade. This bipartisan consensus reinforced the court's role as a check on executive overreach, regardless of political ideology. The decision stands as a powerful reminder: even in emergencies, the president's powers are not unlimited. Tariffs are essentially taxes placed on imported goods, designed with the intention of protecting American industries by making foreign products more expensive and less attractive to buyers. The idea is to encourage consumers and businesses to purchase domestically made products, supporting local jobs and manufacturing. However, in practice, these additional costs rarely stay with the importers. Instead, they are usually passed down the supply chain, eventually landing on the shoulders of American consumers in the form of higher prices at the checkout counter. Everyday essentials, from groceries to household goods, become more expensive, straining family budgets. While a handful of domestic producers may benefit from reduced competition, the vast majority of businesses that rely on imported materials or components face increased costs. This makes it harder for them to compete, both at home and abroad, and can even force some to raise their own prices or cut corners to survive. As a result, many companies have been forced to delay investments in new equipment, scale back their operations, or even lay off workers. Rising expenses and ongoing supply chain disruptions have created a climate of uncertainty and anxiety for both employers and employees. The unpredictability of new tariffs and shifting trade policies has made long-term planning nearly impossible for many businesses. Established global supply chains have been thrown into disarray, with delays, shortages, and increased costs becoming the new normal. For American families, this has translated into a steady and noticeable increase in the cost of living. Prices for cars, electronics, and everyday household goods have all climbed, making it harder for many to make ends meet or save for the future. The economic ripple effects of tariffs have been far-reaching, often hurting the very people and communities they were intended to help. Small businesses, workers, and families across the country have all felt the impact in different ways. The Supreme Court's recent decision offers a glimmer of hope for relief, but for now, uncertainty remains. Many are left wondering how long these challenges will last, and what the future holds for American businesses and consumers alike. The Supreme Court's decision immediately voids tariffs imposed under IEEPA, lifting a heavy burden from American importers. This could lead to lower prices on goods like electronics, clothing, and furniture, though the effects will take time to reach consumers. Businesses will gradually adjust prices as they clear out old inventory and adapt to the new landscape. However, the administration has vowed to fight on, promising to find new legal ways to impose tariffs and continue its protectionist agenda. The ruling only blocks the use of EPA, leaving other trade laws untouched. As the White House pivots to alternative authorities, businesses and consumers face continued uncertainty. The era of tariff-driven trade wars is far from over. The Trump administration is already preparing to use other laws, like Section 232 and Section 301, to impose new tariffs, targeting sectors from critical minerals to semiconductors. These statutes allow for broad presidential action, and new investigations are underway, signaling more tariffs could be on the horizon. The administration's Game 2 plan means businesses shouldn't expect a return to stable, low-cost trade anytime soon. The Supreme Court's ruling offers only temporary relief. The broader trade agenda remains intact. Americans may see modest price drops, but ongoing legal battles and new tariffs could keep costs high. For businesses, adaptability is key in a climate of persistent instability. The struggle between presidential power and constitutional limits will continue to shape American trade for years to come.